that was 4 samples of seaming, and we are gonna try to do all of those. The next part is the edge finishing, which is treating the edges of a seam of a fabric to conceal the seam, the raw edges onto itself. The first way to do it is a bias binding. In a binding, I have the tape for you guys, so you guys don't need to buy your own. Actually, it's that one. Yes. So when you buy binding from the store, usually it has, this one doesn't, I noticed that it doesn't have it, but usually one edge of it is longer than the other. One edge is usually wider than the other, and that's so that you can stitch, that part will go on the back side so that when you're stitching on the top, you don't have to worry about missing the bottom edge, because it usually will be a little longer. But this one, I just ordered it from like a random website, so it's probably very cheaply made. It does not have that. So I'm just gonna show you guys how to do it regularly. I'm gonna show you 2 ways to do a binding. The first one is just a regular edge stitch. The second one is gonna be the ditch stitch. So for this one, you're gonna take your fabric. I think the width was 4.5 by 8. And we are going to trim a little corner. Can you buy me the scissors, please? My fabric scissors. We're gonna take one corner, and it's not listed on here, so after I go through the demonstration, I'll have you guys write down to put one corner is going to be a curved corner, so just trim a little bit, just trim a little curve so that you can practice doing your binding on a curve. Okay, so to do a regular binding edge stitch, you're going to take your binding here, and the front side of it is the one that is folding out. The inside is the inside folding in like this. You're going to take your right side and the right side of your binding, line it up at the edge, and pin it into place. You're going to do 2 stitches. First stitch, you're stitching right in the fold, the first fold here, so it opens up into 4s. When you line it up, you want the edges to line up with each other, and you're going to stitch right along this fold here, the first fold. Did you guys see that? So you're gonna stitch right along this first fold. I'm just gonna do 2 pins into place now. I'm not gonna pin the entire thing. Do a regular size stitch, and you don't need to follow the guides here because you're literally following the actual fold, so you don't need to worry about the guides. Stitch. And follow the edge of the of your fabric. So you're gonna twist your binding into shape, and the good thing about bias binding is it's cut on a bias, so it's stretchy, so you can really pull it and manipulate it to wherever you're trying to cover your curve or your edge, sorry. You gotta be very slow around the curves. Unless you're a professional and you know how to sew on a Juki, you might be able to do it fast, but practice going slowly first. Okay, so around the edge, do your back stitch. When you get to the edge here, there's a way to finish the corners, but I don't think it's necessary for you guys to learn that. It's a specific technique, but we're just gonna do a curved edge, and then we're just gonna do a straight edge with your ditch stitch. Okay, so now you have one edge done. Fold your binding where it's already folded for you, neatly folded for you, to cover the back. And you want to make sure the back part, the back fold covers the stitch line. Because when you do your edge stitch, you want to make sure that you're stitching the fold. So I'm going to fold this, and then I'm going to pin it. And your last stitch will be to do an edge stitch on the binding. And an edge stitch again is just a stitch that's right off of the edge. The tricky thing about the binding is that you don't know that the bottom half is being stitched down. So I like to use my nails to kind of feel and make sure that the bottom is being, you can kind of feel the fold of it. Just make sure you feel that it's underneath and it's covering the stitch line. Very carefully, oops, go around the curves. And because it's on a bias, you can kind of stretch it a little bit to allow you to stitch down so that you're not accidentally stitching fold like pleats and puckers. Okay, so this is an edge stitch on a binding. I'm going to show you guys how to do the ditch stitch. And it's going to be the same process, but your stitch line is going to be on the actual fold instead of the binding itself. So go to the iron, press this nice and flat, and then we'll take another piece. And this long edge here, we're going to do a ditch stitch. Same process. Open it up to one edge. The right side's facing each other. It's a straight stitch, so I'm not using any pins, but use pins as needed. I ran out of thread. Oh,
your bobbin?
Yeah.
Oh, perfect time
to show how to do the winding of the bobbin. Okay, let's resume. Let's take a pause. Let me turn this off while I set myself up.